Go Jackets.
I've got, let's see, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 24, 28 guys. So the first one I've got is Tashard Choice. Where does can they?
Are we?
Okay,
so we're doing a tier list.
Yeah, so S tier is the best. Not many guys going to make it into S tier, and then obviously D tier being the worst.
So
where do we put
Tashard Choice should be like? So are we talking about playing career or coaching or both?
So there's people that aren't players on here. To me, like if it's a player to get into S tier, they had to be a great player at Tech and then have a great career outside of Tech in the NFL or in coaching or in whatever.
Tashard Choice, I think, is special because he's got both going for him, right?
I was split between A and S tier, but I'll tell you after last year. Well, yeah. I don't know. After last year's draft, though, I mean, he had 2 top first round picks, running backs, but maybe he is.
Well, Bijan was going to go in the first round, whether or not Tashard Choice was his coach. I think A tier is a good. I mean, we're talking about S tier. We're talking about Megatron.
Yeah,
and so I mean, Tashard Choice still has the opportunity to work up into the S tier, but you know what he's going to have to do. He's going to have to bring it on home.
I agree.
He's going to have to bring it on home and have a lucrative career here, and that'll he'll be able to work his way up in the S tier. But a great freaking player. If you go back, he was before my time, but if you go back and watch his highlights, he looks like Jahmyr Gibbs when he runs, like how shifty and small he is, and fast. He looks like Gibbs. It's crazy the way his running style rubbed off on Gibbs. It's really cool to watch.
He was a transfer for us.
He was.
He transferred from Oklahoma, so he's from Georgia. His mom got sick. Yeah. And in those days, you could get like a free transfer, like a medical transfer like that. And dude tore it up on the flats. Yeah. And then got drafted by Dallas, the Cowboys, I believe, and had a pretty good NFL career. And then obviously now into coaching. But yeah, let's see. 441 says S tier.
I could see how you want S tier, but I think if he came back and did some more good for us, I think that would really cement him. But I mean, we're talking about Megatron in S tier and possibly 1 or maybe 2 other people in S tier. So that's gonna have to be.
So what about a guy? So this is Brad Stewart. Do you remember this guy? He was a wide receiver for us. Caught a big pass against Florida State. When we upset them. He's from Savannah, Georgia. Super serviceable wide receiver. I mean, obviously, I needed to have a gambit of people to put on this list.
Right. I have no idea who that is.
Okay. He's a C tier to me. But yeah. Okay, so how about here's one. Reggie Ball. Where does Reggie Ball fall in this? Because he had some big wins. He's on the all-time Georgia Tech. I think he's like 3rd or something on all-time passing yardage and all quarterback stats. But I don't think you can be above – well, let me just put it this way. You can't be above B tier and throw it away on 4th down when you have Calvin Johnson. I do know that.
Yeah, so – Reggie Ball has a complicated legacy. I think he gets a bad rap though. I would probably go B tier for Reggie Ball.
B tier Reggie Ball. That's kind of what I was thinking. I was bumping between these two, but you kind of the bad of him sticks out in retrospect more.
He gets a bad rap, and it's mostly like opposing fans trying to besmirch his good name. Okay, made one bun-headed thing. Everybody, that's what anybody ever talks about when they bring up Reggie Ball. But, Reggie Ball was, I mean, come on. He's one of the better quarterbacks we've had in my lifetime, at least. So
he went down to Miami and beat a top 10 Miami before anyone really knew who he was. All right. Harrison Butker.
Oh, as S tier.
You're saying S tier?
I'm saying S tier, man. I'm saying S tier.
Yeah, I mean that big upset in 2014 or 2015.
Yeah.
The kick and the pick he was involved with, and he's got 2 Super Bowl rings now.
Yeah, that's what is really. I'm saying that like Harrison Butker. I mean, he is as good as you can be as a kicker. Obviously, he hasn't had he is not on the legendary status of like Megatron, but as far as a kicker, he is literally the best that he couldn't do any better.
So he'll be bottom S tier. Like there'll be people above him in the tier. Who was saying that Blankenship was better?
Oh, Uncle Lou. Yeah, as if freaking Shankenship could hold a freaking candle to a butt kicker. Are you kidding me? Guess who's unemployed and guess who's kicking Super Bowl winning field goals? Yeah.
That's right.
See if he can answer that for me.
Now, here's one that you might not remember. Do you remember AJ Suggs?
Vaguely, but that's like
AJ Suggs was the first 5-star I think we had on our roster. He transferred from Tennessee. He was supposed to be the savior coming into Tech under Gailey.
Right.
And he would throw a pick to a guy where the guy didn't have to move. He would just throw it right to the defender. But he showed out against Georgia. Like, I think he's C tier.
Yeah, this is before my time, so yeah, it's gonna have to be. You got to remember, I'm like young, so I have somewhat of a. I barely remember anything before like Paul Johnson.
Okay.
And then
I get that.
Even the Paul Johnson years, like I was just not like down with the triple option.
So he was at the beginning of me, or not at the very beginning. He was after like Godsey, but he was a divisive figure a little bit.
Right.
Let's see who I want to do next. Let's do George O'Leary. Where does O'Leary fit?
Okay.
I mean, he's in between these two. I would say he's A tier. But you could make an argument for S tier just for what he did in Florida. I don't know.
I'd probably go A tier. Yeah, I'd probably go A tier for O'Leary. Yeah, he was a great coach for us.
I think he's the most underrated coach
of
recent times. I mean, he had that debacle with Notre Dame, and I'm sure Notre Dame wished they would have overlooked the reason they didn't hire him.
Yeah, he was a great coach for sure. Again, before my time, but
and a mentor of our next guy, Brent Key.
Oh hell yeah. So Mike Doug says he should have been S tier.
I just don't
S tier. We gotta save.
S-tier.
We gotta save the S tier for we gotta save the S tier. You know what I mean? That's like top of the top. Okay.
He would be S tier if like he had gone to Notre Dame and like been really good at Notre Dame or something like that. But I think he's the most underrated coach in the last 15, 20 years. Brent Key, in my opinion, go ahead.
Brent Key, if we're looking at, our opinions of him aside, well, his playing career, but I don't really know anything about that. But I'm talking about coaching here. He went 4-4 as an interim coach. He's put together a great staff and everything, but he just hasn't proven anything for himself. I think it would only be fair to put him at like C tier.
I would say maybe between these two, I think to be fair, our homerism would want to put him in B tier, but I don't really want to put him with Suggs either. He's like the top of C tier right now.
I think the only thing we can do to be fair is put him there. Obviously, he, this year he's got a chance to really step up, but as far as his body of work now,
All right, let's see. Darren Waller.
He's
a tough one to place.
Darren Waller is special to me because he actually went to my high school.
Oh, really? I didn't know that.
Yeah, he went to the same high school as me, North Cobb. Go Warriors!
Woo-hoo.
And so he's an S tier for me personally. Just I just freaking love Darren Waller. Okay, and he's got he's had a great
NFL
career too. He's the highest paid tight end in the NFL.
So for me, it's between A and B. Mm-hmm. When he was at Tech, he was a really good player, and I'm not at all dogging on him. He had some personal issues that held him back from really being what he could have been in the beginning of his NFL career as well. I think Harbaugh's brother was looking at him as like, why is no one drafting this kid? Like, he's amazing. Yeah. But he's doing fantastic now. I could not be happier for the kid. I think he's either at the back end of A or the top of B, and I would put him at the back end of A just because he's been so special in the NFL. Mm-hmm. I mean, he's the best. You can make the argument he's the best tight end in the NFL right now.
Yeah.
All right. I put this guy on here just because I wanted to talk about him. This is Chimaglia. I put him on here because Geoff Collins said he was such a special player and leader, and he was just amazing. And he got a freaking...
Is that the kicker?
Yeah.
That was horrible?
Yeah.
Good Lord.
And he got a personal foul penalty after, like, he missed a kick, like, trash talking people. If there was something below D tier, this clown would be on it. I didn't even want to get a picture of him in my beloved white and gold. The heck with that kid.
Yeah, so Maglio, I was excited for him too, but he was horrible.
The minute that, like, is there anything good you can say about him? Like,
no.
As a player, I'm sure he's a fine person. I don't know.
He transferred in from Tennessee, and he was supposed to be. We really needed a kicker at the time. And he missed so many field, like, he was the kicker in the Northern Illinois game and missed like 3 field goals.
I know.
And we lost by a point. Like, come on, dude. Literally lost us that game. So, hell yeah. Geez, give me a break.
All right. Staying on topic with people I really don't like, Dave Patnode.
Oh, jeez.
Dave Patnode's actually below Chimaglia.
Yeah.
Because I can't think of a worse OC in the history of college of Power 5 football than Dave Patnode. Like, what he did to our offense is unspeakable. Like,
dude, can you imagine a bigger gap of talent he had versus capability of coach?
I know guys are wanting some of these older guys, but I knew that, like, Cdogg wouldn't know some of these guys, and I wanted to get people on this list that I knew something about. Like, obviously, I know Bobby Ross. Bobby Ross would probably be A tier because he left us to go to Alabama. But
do you want to? We could bring in some Tech fans to give their opinion if they wanted to.
Sure. Let me open up the StreamYard. Let me flip over here.
I'm enjoying this so far.
Let me drop the StreamYard link. If you want to come in and discuss the list, we definitely can. I'll just while people are coming in, say who I've got on. I know you won't know who this guy is. Tony Hollins was a guy that played under O'Leary. He actually was a defensive back that transitioned to playing running back, got hurt, and still led the nation in rushing for like 3 weeks after he got hurt.
Oh, damn.
That's how good Hollins was. We got Roddy Jones. This picture got messed up. I don't know.
It's like his pants.
I just got a picture of his crotch. So yeah, we can rank this guy's crotch on our list.
I freaking love Roddy Jones, dude.
No, Roddy Jones is special.
He's a beast.
Presley Harvin III.
Oh,
obviously Paul Johnson.
Yep.
Morgan Burnett, Justin Thomas, Josh Pastner, Josh Nesbitt, Jonathan Dwyer, and I had to put Joe Gilbert on here, friend of the show.
Hell yeah, S tier.
Yeah, he's top. Joe Gilbert's top S tier. Joe Hamilton, and I wanted to put Angel Cabrera on here because I was going to be interested to see what people thought of how well he's done. George Gotze, gotta have Geoff Collins on any list. Demo, Bebe Thomas, and obviously the GOAT. Calvin Johnson.
Yeah, we can just go ahead and we know
where he's going, but guys, hit that StreamYard link if you want to be a part of the discussion. We'll keep moving on. It gives me a little notification when you guys come in. But this guy's crotch is top S tier. Anyways, so I'll talk about Tony Hollins. Tony Hollins is top C tier just because of his injuries. But that was a kid that had he not got injured, would have been a really he was a special player for us when he was here. Now, Roddy Jones.
Okay, let's go. I love Roddy Jones, man. I love his career that he's got.
We got Mike Doug in here, by the way. Go ahead.
A lot of people find his voice annoying.
Roddy Jones?
Yeah, a lot of people are annoyed by him. What do you think?
I think Roddy Jones is top B tier. Did he get drafted?
He didn't have much of an NFL career.
Yeah, I think he's top B tier. I think to be an A or S, you have to have some semblance of a career after Tech. But I definitely think he's top B tier. Mike Doug, how's it going?
Pretty good, man. I take exception to George O'Leary not being in the S one.
Yeah, George. Well, I think
he was part of our national championship. I think he was our defensive coordinator that year.
He was, and Ralph Friedgen. That's who this crotch is. Now that you say that, that's Ralph Friedgen.
Ralph Friedgen's definitely S tier. Nobody can make better halftime adjustments than him.
Oh man, I think Ralph Friedgen is right behind O'Leary.
We're talking about Megatron here.
And my thinking is 10% or less of these guys can be S tier.
Right.
And O'Leary did lie on his resume, which is a knock on him. I think he's high A tier. You could say he's above Choice. I'm okay with that. And you can say he's absolute top A tier. He's first out of S tier.
Yeah.
All right.
I don't know, man. Like I said, you had the defense that won part of the national championship. I really, how often does that happen at Tech?
Yeah, the interesting thing with Tech during that time is that we could never get the offense, a great offense and defense at the same time, and we struck lightning with him and Friedgen. But
yeah, y'all are more qualified to speak of it than me because Tech won the national championship 7 years before I was born. So,
well, to be fair, I'd put Ross at the top A tier too because he left us and went to Alabama.
No, he didn't go to Alabama. He went to the San Diego Chargers.
Didn't he end up at Alabama?
No, but he took a year or two after he left Tech. He took San Diego to the Super Bowl.
All right, well, Ross would be S tier then.
Any coach that wins Georgia Tech and Natty can be S tier in my book. John Heisman, William Alexander, freaking hell yeah.
Okay, well, let's talk about Josh Nesbitt. That's another one that's I think not so clear to place.
Yeah.
To me, always felt like you had a chance to win with Josh Nesbitt.
He was a tough. We kind of hit lightning in a bottle with him because I think he was far more suited to the triple option than probably being a traditional, pro style quarterback. I think he's top B tier. I don't know what you guys think.
I think you're about right with that because where did he go after Tech? I can't remember.
Buffalo on their practice squad.
Yeah, he don't get the S tier for sure. B tier.
See, well, I'll put him here. Who did we just have come in? 441W. How are you, sir?
Hey, how's it going, guys?
Pretty good, man. Are we doing all right so far?
So far, so good. I had to figure out StreamYard. Haven't done that before, so I missed some of the tier ranks. Are we doing this like what do you call it? A bell curve distribution, or is it like top heavy?
Well, obviously it's not going to be a straight bell curve because then I'd have to like do some math. But
Well, I was gonna say like half the guys would be in the the B tier then.
It's kind of worked out that way a little bit. I mean, I can see a bell here.
Yeah, so S tier is clearly like there shouldn't be very many people in S tier. That's the only thing that I'm kind of.
I tried to make it even out a little. Like I didn't want to have everyone up top or bottom.
Yeah.
But okay, let's talk about Angel Cabrera. What do you guys think about how he's done, and where would you place this guy?
I'm not sure. I'm not convinced that he, cares the most about football.
Yeah.
Which is the only thing that I'm evaluating here. It's my only.
Well, that's what we're
criteria.
talking about.
So,
I think that he's somewhere in C tier.
Yeah, I mean,
because he allowed this Collins debacle to go on too long.
He's not committed to. I don't think he does everything that we possibly could to improve Georgia Tech football. So I just feel like he could put forth a little more effort than that.
Yeah, I would say D, but I guess he's responsible for D being here.
There needs to be like an F.
Yeah.
There needs to be like a Shadow Realm tier for Geoff Collins. He needs his own tier.
So let's talk about Geoff Collins. I mean, to be fair to the guy, I was thinking back end C or absolutely bottom D because he did I think have some good ideas for Tech as far as
really
the marketing of the team in Atlanta, and his recruiting was good. But you can't put him in C with where he left us.
No,
and his attitude after he left us.
That's true. If he didn't do what we know he did when he left and go, he was on that podcast talking about, I know that people felt some way about me being at Georgia's spring game. He's honestly a garbage bag human being. He's absolutely bottom tier D, and that's too favorable for him. Let's go to the other end of coaches. Where do we put Paul Johnson?
Ooh, here we go.
A.
I would agree with A.
I think that he's up there with O'Leary and A. He's at the top part of A. I mean, when you're a college football Hall of Fame coach, which I think is O'Leary in the College Football Hall of Fame?
He might be. I'm not sure anymore.
People criticize Paul for his style of offense. It worked for us for a long time. The fair criticisms of him were that he just didn't much care about recruiting. But he was a fan. He's one of the best coaches we've ever.
He's a great coach. And look, I think he's a great coach. I have mad respect for him. We never should have hired him in the first place. We never should have ran the triple option. But
we didn't have many options back then. I remember that.
Right.
Well,
I just
Cutcliffe was an option.
Yeah. Yeah. Anything but running the triple option, like a freaking service academy. So it's just, I don't think.
Well, I don't think he was our first choice either, though. Right? I mean, we were heavy in on Will Muschamp and a couple other guys like that. Yeah.
Old Georgia
back when
player.
He was hot at. Yeah.
Yeah. So. Yeah, I don't think we never should have hired him. In my opinion, Tech
I was
doesn't need
excited
him
for him coming to Tech until I realized how bad he was hurting recruiting.
Mm-hmm.
And we're still recovering from that hit we took to recruiting. I mean, to Jeff's credit, he kind of pulled it back, but yeah. All right, let's go ahead and get Calvin off the board. No one overtakes Calvin in the S tier rank. I mean,
yep.
if you just constructed a wide receiver, in Madden and just maxed his stats, you'd get Calvin Johnson. On top of he's a great guy, he's a smart guy. I've never seen anything like that in my life.
He had great hands too, man. He could
Hands
just reach
down.
out and grab that football out of nowhere.
Hands down, the greatest freaking
I mean,
Georgia Tech
what?
player. Possibly
6'5".
the greatest receiver of all time.
I think had he had a longer career, he'd be undisputed.
Right.
Now screw the Lions for absolutely mishandling him,
and they better not do it to Gibbs too. I'm going to be severely pissed off.
We'll do a GoFundMe for Gibbs to get him out of there if I'm not happy with it.
I cannot believe freaking Matthew Stafford gets out of the Lions and freaking gets a ring, and Megatron doesn't. It's bullshit.
It is.
Yeah,
it is.
Calvin Johnson is to wide receiver what Barry Sanders was to running back.
Yeah,
like, could have been the greatest of all time
had
the Lions not run him out of the league.
Yeah.
Let me just throw some numbers to the audience. This guy was 6'5". He had a 48-inch vert, and he ran a 4.35 in someone else's cleats. And if you threw it within 10 yards of his vicinity, he'd come up with it somehow.
Do y'all remember the catch?
Which one?
NC State.
Oh, yeah. Where he's going one way, they throw the ball behind him.
And it's like a completely unnecessary thing. He just pulls it off just because he's cracked.
Yeah, I was there. I saw it in person.
You were there? Oh, my God.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Insane.
Yeah. S tier, undisputed S tier.
He'd be S tier on any college football list.
Yep.
All right. Let's see. Josh Pastner. Now we got a basketball guy in here.
I'm gonna defer.
I would say he's back in C, just because he didn't do what Geoff did on the way out, and I actually do think Josh is a good guy.
Yeah, I agree with
all that.
It didn't work out. Let's see. Morgan Burnett.
Okay.
Ooh, that's a tough one.
Yeah. A or B?
He's somewhere in A or B. I think he's more back in A with Waller. In fact, I think you could put him. For me, the question is where he goes. Does he go above Waller or not?
I'd go upper B. Waller is like top of his position group, where Morgan Burnett was good, but he was like above average, middle of the pack, even in the NFL.
All right, I'd agree with that.
You get a point.
He did get an interception from Matt Stafford in 2008 as well. That felt really good. Another guy I think that's similar to place is George Gotsey.
Ooh.
He didn't have – I don't even think he got drafted. I could be wrong. Now, he's been offensive coordinator in the league, and there was some Tech faithful that really wanted him to come in as our head coach, which I didn't agree with. I mean, what do you guys think?
You can't go 3-0 against UGA and go less than A.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, and he's holding up. I don't know if you guys can see it really well. He's holding up the 3. Is he back end A?
He's
I actually think
I felt like he was an S talent.
So it's funny that you just say you can't go 3-0 against UGA and be less than A, because David Turk makes a good point. He says, as a player, Key's team beat Georgia 3 years in a row.
Oh, you're right. I think that bumps him up to back end B.
Bumps him up to B, get him up there. I think we might have been a little harsh on him in the first place, because
we're thinking coaching with him, and we weren't really thinking playing.
And I think even the coaching, like he really did do. I mean, we just got done saying how much he did with how little.
Yeah.
It's just the only thing was holding him back was that he just got the job. So, but yeah, that bumps him up for sure.
All right, Joe Gilbert, and I'm actually going to be fair with Joe Gilbert. I think Joe Gilbert is back in B too. He was on the 2009 ACC championship team.
Oh yeah,
and the inaugural Georgia State team after he got his Georgia Tech degree.
Hell yeah,
Joe Gilbert's B tier Tech guy for sure.
And he freaking comes on and like, how cool is it that he comes on and talks to us?
Hell yeah. Gil, are you still in here, Mojo? Because, like, it would have been great to have you in here while we ranked you on the tier.
Well, you know how he feels about freaking Paul Johnson.
Oh, yeah. Well, I've got him about as far away from Paul as I mean, the only way I could get him further away is to drop him down. So, but yeah. Mojo, why don't you step in here? The StreamYard link's up there if you want to come in.
Yeah.
All right. Demo, to me, is indisputed S tier.
S tier, bro.
In fact,
S-tier.
He's right behind Calvin.
Yeah. The way I look at it is, if you're like scoffing at us, the way I look at it is the best you can be at what you do, and he is.
Yeah, I mean, he goes to South Carolina, and now all of a sudden they're, beating top 10 teams, at the end of last year.
We would win a natty if he would come back.
I would give a limb if Demo came back. Like, I'd give a pinky to start the season, but I would give, like, my left arm.
Yeah.
To get Demo back.
I don't really need one of these legs anyway.
No, I mean...
Right now, they're freaking ate up with poison ivy. I'm suffering right now, dude.
Yeah.
I'm itchy as hell, man. I've been doing yard work, dude. I got freaking poison ivy all over me. Sorry.
All right.
Just a side note.
Presley Harvin III. Now, he's at the top of his game at punter.
Yep.
Who'd we just have drop in? Oh, snap. We got Mojo in the house.
Yo.
Hey, what's going on, everybody?
What's up?
Man, I'm sorry. I was listening in earlier. I had to jump off on to put my daughter to sleep, but I jumped right back on when y'all ranked me, and I did not expect to be on here. I'll take that B. Oh,
yeah. Did you go get your ACC championship ring? We want to see it on the show.
Oh, I do actually. That is back home. I left it with my parents for safekeeping. I'm not good at keeping up with things myself.
No, I don't.
But yeah,
you.
I still got my ring.
You gotta bring it on for the beginning of the season. Our first show back, we want to see that ACC championship ring in your hand.
Yeah, we do. What about Keith Brooking? Did you put him on the board?
No, I did this kind of quick, but Keith Brooking would probably be upper A tier, in my opinion. You could even back in SM. I mean, he had such a long NFL career.
Yeah, I would argue that he would be S.
Well,
all right,
one of my favorite Falcons right there.
Oh, Keith Brookins. I mean, haven't we offered his son for 2026 or 2025 or something?
Oh, wow.
I think so. I think he plays tight end.
Yeah.
No, I forgot. I was going to put the Georgia Tech tight end position on here, and that would be D tier. I should have done that. Presley Harvin, it's between like top B and back A. I don't know how high you can put a punter, but we did put Bucker at S.
We did, and I feel like a hypocrite now, but it just seems like a punter. Like,
I think he's got to be like somewhere in here.
I mean, like, I know, yeah, and I think the what it is that we also have, well, special teams plays like less of a role, and definitely less than field goal kicker, and also we had Presley Harvin on teams that went 3-9. So.
Well, here's the interesting thing with Presley Harvin is he was like our MVP because our offense was so bad. So like we had to like ice his leg down after every game because he had to punt about 40 times.
Do you remember when? I remember looking away. We had scored a freaking touchdown, which was rare, and I looked away for a minute while we were kicking the PAT. Turns out. We weren't. We were going for 2, and I look back and see his fat ass freaking flailing around. They give it to him for a pass for some reason, and he freaking gets tackled. He's flailing. He's like, he looks so silly, like flopping around, getting tackled because he's so damn big. It was funny as shit. I can't remember the game.
Oh well, but, if he had to make a tackle and kick coverage, he would destroy somebody.
Yeah. Yeah.
What's going on, Matthew? I see you in the chat.
But no, I love Presley Harvin.
No, he's awesome, killing it for the Steelers at the moment. Yeah. All right, let's look at JT, Justin Thomas, another Georgia Tech quarterback. He's a tough one to place for me.
Yeah.
Where'd you put Reggie Ball?
He was back in B. He's definitely better than Ball, though.
Yeah. I don't know. Ball has some good moments, especially against FSU.
I was saying that Ball gets a bad rap, for sure.
Yeah, he has some very good moments. We almost won that game years ago against FSU because of him.
But we won some big games with Thomas. I mean, he went to an ACC championship game. Yeah. He won a Citrus Bowl.
We're one. So there was a graphic that came out in the modern day playoff era of the teams that had won a New Year's Six Bowl in it. I retweeted it, and it's not many.
He's also a part of the one of the bigger upsets we had at Bobby Dodd against Florida State with that block kick.
I think we were ranked in the top 8 with him. So let's say A.
I think he's back in A.
Yeah,
I agree.
Where's Paul Johnson?
Paul Johnson's upper A. He's the second on the A list.
I mean, I would agree with that because to Mojo's point, without Nesbitt and without Justin Thomas, Paul Johnson's legacy might be a lot different.
Mojo, how do you feel about where we put Paul?
Well, I got my feelings about Coach Johnson.
Where would you have put Paul?
Anything Pantheon of Tech coaches,
you're kind of
give him an upper and B tier.
You drop him here, okay?
Oh, can you hear me?
Yeah, you were kind of cutting out, but we heard you say upper B.
Upper B, that's fair.
Yeah, I think there's a lot of people that might agree with that.
I know about the players, but as a fan, I kind of like that he was an asshole. It was funny.
Oh yeah,
to me as a fan.
His press conferences were like Belichick, Saban, with just how little of a crap he gave about it.
Yeah, and it pissed off like other teams' fans, which was funny. So I do like that.
Right.
I'm sure it was hard to do.
I can give him that.
Yeah, I can't imagine what he was like to you guys if he was like that on camera. It must have been rough. Demaryius Thomas.
Ooh.
This is a guy that's like Waller. You could make the S tier. I mean, he was almost as good. Well, I'm not going to say almost as good as Calvin, but he was a top 5 wide receiver in the NFL. What do we think?
Awesome. Did he go to Denver?
And do y'all know his story? It's amazing.
Oh, like how rough his upbringing was.
His mom and grandma were in prison, and then when he got to his Super Bowl ring and got to go to the White House, he got Obama to pardon his grandmother. How cool is that?
He's got to be S then, right?
It's freaking awesome.
Yeah.
I love
What do you
him.
guys think?
Easy S tier.
Yeah.
All right, I'm gonna actually put him.
Tier. I remember you could swing the ball out to. He could catch the ball at the line of scrimmage, and he's going to stiff arm whatever 180, 200-pound DB they got covering him, and he's going to take off. And he did that consistently through the entire 2009 season. He was a cheat code.
Oh, you played with him. That's right.
Oh yeah, I was very fortunate to play with him, and just watching that, we had turn back protection, which is just the easiest thing. You turn to the left side or the right side of the line, depending on the call, and you just see Bebe would be out there 1-on-1 with a DB, and you just knew no matter we could be playing Gardner Webb or we could be playing Clemson. It doesn't matter. He's going to stiff arm the guy and take off for a solid 30 yards every time.
So let me ask you this: do you hold it against him at all for costing us the ACC championship, or is that bullshit?
I think that's all bullshit, man.
All right, we're not holding it against him. I don't hold it against him. It's bullshit too.
Yeah, because he's going to the NFL. I can't begrudge him a $200 tracksuit.
Yeah.
Oh, that's what. That is. Okay, that whole costing us the ACC title thing, that's F tier. Fake news nonsense.
Yeah.
With all this is something that probably, Mojo, you'll agree with, that Paul was very vocal about. He's like, with everything that I know that goes on in college football right now, you're going to ding us for a freaking tracksuit.
Yeah.
Meanwhile, they're paying Cam Newton $250,000 to come to Auburn. Frig out of
and
my
North
face.
Carolina cheats for freaking
a decade straight.
Yeah.
Across all sports.
Yeah.
Friggin' joke.
What
dude.
a joke.
Lou brought that up on a show earlier.
Yeah. What a joke.
All right, what about Jonathan Dwyer?
Okay.
A.
Yeah, I give him A+, whatever the top end A is.
A+? We have George O'Leary at A+. Yeah.
So he's not better than Waller. Is he better than Godsey and JT in the A?
That's hard to say because I loved watching Godsey play.
I think he's back end A. I think he's in the last in the A tier.
I agree with that.
It's just so tough because there's some really good guys. I mean, this is who we have in the A tier: George O'Leary, Paul Johnson, Tashard Choice, Ralph Friedgen, Darren Waller, George Godsey, Justin Thomas. Is he better than any of those guys?
If I had to say, I'd put him ahead of Waller, behind Thomas. If that, I can't see the board right now, so I don't know which one of those or how those two are set.
Yeah,
y'all are sleeping on my man Waller. Maybe I'm a little biased because we went to the same high school.
We'll put him right behind Waller, so it'll be Waller, Dwyer, Godsey, Thomas. Now Thomas is our back end A though. We might have, so we'll finish this with the last guy, and then we'll see if we need to reshuffle any of these. Joe Hamilton.
Ooh.
It's hard for me to say he's S tier because he didn't have an NFL career.
But he didn't have an NFL career because he was basically ahead of his time. Like if Joe Hamilton had been drafted or like had the career he had in 2006, he absolutely would have been drafted.
Some of the best games I ever saw with Tech had Joe Hamilton as quarterback.
All right, is he back end S?
It's
or
tough.
is he above Bucker, who has 2 Super Bowl rings?
I mean,
well,
I
are
agree
we
with you
grading
in
on
the
what he
A-tier.
did? Oh, go ahead.
Because it was right. The definition that I was proposing for S tier was you don't have to explain to anybody who it is or why they're great. They already know. And you would have to explain to somebody who Joe Hamilton was.
Yeah, he goes into A.
You can just say Megatron and they know who you're talking about.
Right.
He goes into A, but I don't know if you should put him above
O'Leary.
Friedgen, or not Friedgen, but O'Leary. Yeah, I don't think you should put him there.
Now we're pretty A heavy.
I think you should go after O'Leary because, like I said, O'Leary, he was part of the defense that won us the championship.
Okay, so I got him second in A. So this is what we got on the board. We got an S tier. We got I'm going to go from 1 to the back, from the best to the worst in S tier. Calvin, he's not moving. Demo's not moving. Demaryius Thomas, Harrison Bucker, I don't know with that. A tier, we've got George O'Leary, Joe Hamilton, Paul Johnson, Tashard Choice, Ralph Friedgen, Darren Waller, Jonathan Dwyer, George Godsey, Justin Thomas. B tier, we've got Morgan Burnett, Roddy Jones, Josh Nesbitt, Presley Harvin III, Reggie Ball, Brent Key, and my man, Joe Gilbert.
Gilbert should probably be in the S one just because he joins the channel every Sunday.
All right. We put Joe above Calvin. So Joe's the greatest ever. Now that you guys are on, do you guys remember Hollins? Am I the only one that remembers this guy?
No, I do. I do remember him. I watched him when I was in like middle school or whatever.
Yeah.
I remember him getting hurt, and that was the first time I ever saw a like grown man cry on a football field. But then
It was
found out
nasty.
why. Yeah, it was real bad.
But yeah, he led the league in rushing for like 3 more weeks. But okay, so we got in C, we got Tony Hollins, Brad Stewart, Angel Cabrera, AJ Suggs, Josh Pastner, and then D, we've got this joke of a kicker, this
Brent
joke of an OC.
Samaglia.
We got this joke of an OC and this clown of a human being, and Geoff Collins.
So I have a question.
Yeah.
Where is Ja?
Oh my God! How could I forget to put Ja on here? Where would Ja be? Like I said, I did this quick.
A tier somewhere.
He'd be probably with Joe Hamilton.
He's the best player to come through here in a long time.
All right,
I mean, doesn't the jury have to be out for him? Because he's just now starting his.
That's true. Yeah, if we're factoring NFL careers, but even at Tech and Alabama, he's like one of the best players in the country. He led led the freaking country in all-purpose yards on a 3-9 Georgia Tech team.
Yeah,
like
agree with
it's
that.
such a shame that we just wasted him, and even Alabama did too.
Yeah, where would we have ranked Waller a week after his drafting? Right.
Probably back in B or even probably top end C.
I have a special love for Ja. I'm more biased to some of these players, but Ja freaking sent me a message on Twitter saying he saw my videos and stuff and thanked me for the support. So Ja's pretty special to me.
Yeah, Ja's. So here's what I think: we got to drop 2 people out of A. We got too many A's.
Yeah.
Who we said we couldn't drop Gotze. Gotze, I think, is here only because, well, I don't know. I mean, he also is has the record for most passing yards in a game still at like 480 or something.
He wants nothing to do with coaching at Georgia Tech.
Do we drop Gotze?
No, Gotze was always entertaining to watch.
Yeah.
You always felt like you had a chance.
Well, I
to
mean,
come in the game.
it makes sense that we have a lot of A's here because you put a lot of really good. You put some of the best people to ever come through the school in here.
If Gotze hadn't gotten hurt, where would he have been? He would have definitely been in the A.
Yeah, I tell you what I think. On another show, we'll have to redo this, and Cdogg, me and you need to sit down and figure out who all needs to be on here because I just kind of threw this together today when the idea came. But I agree with all this. I mean, the only thing you could probably debate is where they go within here. Like, I don't think Morgan Burnett is necessarily better than Roddy Jones and Nesbitt. I guess if you take his NFL career into account.
Roddy Jones said a hilarious freaking quote this past year. Malachi Carter had surpassed his record for most career starts at Georgia Tech. And he was like, yeah, the trick is to be good enough to start, but not good enough to go to the NFL.
That is true. He does have a good sense of humor.
I love
fighting
Roddy Jones.
commentary.
I love Roddy Jones. It was funny.
I also think it's hilarious that Angel Cabrera is in between a wide receiver that no one remembers and AJ Suggs.
Yeah,
that's where we put him.
Yeah, I think you got him right in the right spot.
Yeah.
I don't
in fairness to Cabrera, the president of the university, he's looking to get government grants and get the get different schools and stuff launched.
You think he's doing what he can to improve our football program?
Yeah, well, I think him stepping in and saying, "All right, I'm going to take over," and kicking out Stansbury and Collins in one fell swoop. I think that was him saying, "All right, I'm going to have some ownership."
That moves him up.
It does seem like we've been seeing more of him lately.
Yeah, that was like that for him to step in and fire Stansbury, and like he had to have fired Collins because he fired Stansbury. That moves him to the top of C, actually.
And that was also a good point that Bryce Kuhn had brought up was that the other sports were doing pretty good at the time too. So we fired Stansbury solely based on the football situation, which shows that we do care about football and we prioritize that. So
There's only so many times you can lose to Georgia and be respectable.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean that's what got. It seems to me, Gailey fired.
Chan Gailey, yeah.
Absolutely, what got Gailey out of there. Yeah.
But yeah, well, I thought that was fun.
Yeah, that was fun.
Yeah.
I didn't think you was gonna like it, CDogg. You didn't have much
Why
of a
not?
response when I pitched the idea to you, and it hurt my feelings. greatly.
Sorry, I have a bad habit of saying okay. Like
Yeah.
you should see my text with my boss. He's like, I just say okay a lot. Like my wife gets irritated with my one word responses too. So it's not just you.
No, I'm just messing